Hello, welcome to my channel, another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and today I am putting trashy books on the shelf. I am putting horror books on the shelf, science fiction books on the shelf, and I am going to do a book haul of literature because I do read literary fiction as well as trashy books. I know Garbogist is up and coming, so it's getting a lot of attention. But around this time of the year, the New York Review of Books puts on a 40% off sale of their entire catalog. Now, you do have to buy 4 or more books, or is it 5 or more books? And you have to spend more than $50 to get free shipping. But if you buy a number of books and spend over $50, you get 40% off your sale, and you get free shipping. So how could I possibly say no to such a deal? And today, my box of NYRB books came in, and I'm going to show you what's in here. And I don't use safety scissors. Okay, so what is in this box? And NYRB actually packs their boxes very well, unlike a major retailer that I often buy my books from. So what have I got in here? The Radiance of the King by Camara Laye. This is an African author. There is a booktuber who made me buy this. He did a review a couple of months ago, and I put it on my wish list, and I just waited and waited and waited until I could get this cheap. And here I go. Let me read the back. At the beginning of this masterpiece of African literature, Clarence, a white man, has been shipwrecked on the coast of Africa. Flush with self-importance, he demands to see the king, but the king has just left for the south of his realm. Traveling through an increasingly phantasmagoric landscape in the company of a beggar and two roguish boys, Clarence is gradually stripped of his pretensions until he is sold to the royal harem as a slave. But in the end, Clarence's bewildering journey is the occasion for a revelation as he discovers the image, both shameful and beautiful, of his own humanity in the alien splendor of the king. And this is, I want to see if this is a translation or not. Yeah, translated from the French. And it was originally published in 1971. Now, I have to admit that I do not read a lot of African literature, and I should, because there are some very good authors. So I'm not 100% positive who the booktuber was that made me buy this, but if you watch this, it's all your fault. The Hive by Camilo Jose Cela. He is a Spanish winner of the Nobel Prize, and I have read a few of his books before, and this was published rather recently, and I just, again, put it on my wish list for the good opportunity to pick it up. The Hive is set over the course of a few days in Madrid of 1843, not long after the end of the Spanish Civil War. But the regime of General Francisco Franco was at its most oppressive. The book includes more than 300 characters whose comings and goings it tracks to the hypnotic effect. Subracious, scandalous, and profane, The Hive is a virtuosic group portrait of a wounded and sick society. This might be good for BookTube at War coming up this month, because I don't have Spain as one of the countries that I'm doing. I don't think I'll have time this month, but maybe in future months. Spain. Tulluria by Vladimir Sorokin. This is a book translated from the Russian. It is sort of science fiction. And yes, science fiction can also be literature. Tulluria is set in the future when a devastating holy war between Europe and Islam has succeeded in returning the world to the torpor and disorganization of the Middle Ages. Europe, China, and Russia have all broken up. The people of the world now live in an array of little nations that are like puzzle pieces, each cultivating its own ideology or identity, a neo-feudal world of fads and feuds in which no one power dominates. What does, however, travel everywhere is the appetite for the special substance tellurium. A spike in tellurium driven into the brain by an expert hand offers a transforming experience of bliss. Incorrectly administered, it means death. The 50 chapters of Tulluria map out this brave new world from 50 different angles, as Vladimir Sorokin, always a virtuoso of the word, introduces us to, among many other figures, partisans and princes, peasants and party leaders, a new Knights Templar, a harem of fallacies, and a dog-headed poet and philosopher who feasts on carrion from the battlefield. The book is an immense and sumptuous tapestry of the world, carnivalesque and cruel, and Max Lawton, Sorokin's gifted translator, has captured it in English that carries the charge of Cormac McCarthy and William Gibson. This was originally published in Russian in 2013. So that is Tulluria. The Child and the River by Henri Bosco. This is a novel translated from the French. I read one other book by this author, also published by the New York Review Books. I'm going to leave that title down below because I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was a fascinating little French novel set on an island in a river. And this is the second book by this author to be translated. I believe those are the only two books by this author to be translated. In French, I think he's well known. The Child and the River tells a simple but haunting tale. Pascalet, a boy growing up on a farm in the south of France, is permitted by his parents to play wherever he likes, only never by the river. Prohibition turns into temptation. Pascolette dreams of nothing so much as heading down to the river one day with his parents away. He does, wandering along the bank, intoxicated with newfound freedom. He falls asleep in a rowboat and wakes to find himself caught in the rapids and run aground on an island where a band of gypsies has pitched camp together with their trained bear. Hiding under brush, Pascolette observes that the group includes a boy his age who, after receiving a whipping, has been left tied to a post. That is Getzo, and soon as night falls, Pascolette sets him loose. The boys escape in a boat and spend an idyllic week on the river. But then the mysterious puppeteer of souls arrives, bringing their adventures to an end, and Pascolette must go back home to face the music. Has he seen the last of his new friend? The Liar by Morten A. Hansen. This is a book translated from the Danish. One of the greatest works of modern Scandinavian fiction, The Liar tells the story of Johannes Laye, a teacher and parish clerk on tiny sand island off the coast of Denmark, a place that in winter is entirely cut off from the world at large by ice. It is winter when the book begins, and for years now Johannes has lived alone, even as he nurses secret passion for Anna Marie, a former pupil. Anna Marie is engaged to a local man, Olaf, who has left the island but is due to return come spring. She is also being courted by a young engineer from the mainland. Such are the chief players in a compact drama, recorded in Johannes's iconic, self-lacerating, and everything but reliable diary. Morten A. Hansen's novel beautifully evokes the stark landscape of Sand Island and the immemorial circuit of the seasons, as well as the mysterious passage of time in the human heart, all while proceeding to a supremely suspenseful conclusion. The Stronghold by Dino Buzzati, translated from the Italian. I just sort of realized every book that I bought is a translated work of literature. At the start of Dino Buzzati's The Stronghold, newly commissioned officer Giovanni Drago has just received his first posting. The remote Forzetti Basanti, north of this stronghold, are impassable mountains. To the south, a great desert, and somewhere out there is the enemy, whose attack is imminent. This is the enemy that Lieutenant Drago has been sent to draw out of his lair, to defeat once and for all, returning home in triumph. Yet time passes. Where is the enemy? As the soldiers in the fortress await the foretold day of reckoning, they succeed to inertia, and through death, and though death occurs, it is not from bravery. Decades pass, a lifetime passes. Drago, however, is still in his lonely vigil to keep. Buzzati is one of the great Italian writers of the 20th century, renowned for his fantastical imagination and for a touch that is lyrical as it is light. The Stronghold, previously translated as The Tartar Steppe is his most celebrated work, a book that has been read and as a veiled attack on Mussolini's fascist militarism, a prophetic allegory of the Cold War, and an existential fable. Lawrence Venuti's new translation reverts the title that Buzzati originally included to give his book, and seeks to bring out both the human and the historical dimensions of a story of proven power and poignance. So that is my book haul from the New York Review books. I hope you liked them. I hope you would consider reading some of these. I'm quite looking forward to these books. By the end of the year, I know some of these books will not be read, but I will definitely get to some of them. Thank you for watching, and keep on reading.